Shaboy say, stay tuned. There's a Gavaldiga podcast. Rabbi Steve Geller does a Gavaldiga Zach, and that'll be coming out this week. Torah Giants on Chumash. Shalom Uvrach, and welcome to the weekly piece on the Parsha from Torah Giants on Chumash, written by Rabbi Rabbi Goodman, the Rabbi Emeritus of Young Yisrael Rockaway. Sit back and enjoy.
Welcome to Torah Giants on Chumash. I'm Steve Geller. Let's feast our eyes on a pasuk from this week's Parsha. The Kohen shall see it after the nega-afflicted article was washed, and behold, lo hafach had nega es eno. The affliction did not change color, and the eruption did not spread. It is unclean. You shall burn it in fire. It is a deep mark, be it an old or new garment. Chazal noted, and several Sefarim discuss in various ways, the fact that the term nega for plague has the same letters as oneg, meaning pleasure. The only difference being in the placement of the letter ayin at the beginning or the end of the word. Rav Ephraim Zalman Margolis notes in his volume Yad Ephraim that this is hinted at in this very pasuk. Had the affliction reversed its ayin, a word that means I, it would have been at the beginning of the word instead of at the end, and the result would have been pleasure. Since the Kohen saw no change, the item remains impure. According to the Chidushei Harim, whether something is an affliction, a nega, or it's a pleasure, an oneg, all depends on where one places the ayin, the I. Many things in life depend on a person's perspective. Something can happen that appears to be a blemish, an illness, or an affliction. Depending on how a person views the situation, our interpretation of the event can be transformed, and that transforms our actual experience of the event itself. With proper perspective and insight, a person can see a nega affliction as an oneg, as a delight. So now it's very good, because if our determination of whether something is good or bad comes from our response to the situation itself, our ayin are perceiving the situation after the fact, so they are, so to speak, in the end. So of course it's perceived to be a nega. But if our ayin is in front, if our determinations or assessments of the things that happen to us in life up front is that everything comes from Hashem and is ultimately good, then whatever happens fits that reality of good. Then even a nega becomes an oneg. There are so many ramazim to this that we're all familiar with. We've mentioned in a previous piece Rabbi Eytan Feiner's explanation of the Shema. The Mishnah in Brachos explains that we're supposed to focus on our acceptance of the yoke of heaven, Ol Malchus Shemayim. The Hebrew word Shema contains the Rosh Tevos of Ol Malchus Shemayim, but backwards. Rabbi Feiner asks, if Shema is supposed to remind us of accepting Ol Malchus Shemayim, then why don't we say Amush instead of Shema? He answers, and now it fits perfectly, that if we judge every incident in life separately, then we don't often see that everything happened entirely for our benefit until later, when we look back at the events. But in our example, our ayin is at the end, so of course the challenge at the time was a nega. Arguably, the high point of Matan Torah was the Jews' acceptance and statement of Nasa v'Nishma. We committed to doing, and then we will continue to learn about the mitzvahs. Making the commitment to accept the Torah before knowing what it contained is the ultimate expression of oneg, of using our eyes to determine that everything Hashem gives us must be good, must be only and entirely beneficial to us. We metaphorically put the ayin up front, not at the end, making our Torah lives an oneg. Last week, we also mentioned Vayidom Aaron, that after the death of his two sons, Aaron was silent. Had the Torah not mentioned Aaron's silence, we would have known it from the lack of any statements by him. The Torah was making the point that the silence was a verb. It was an action. Aaron's silence was confirming his knowledge that Hashem is good and true, even in that most painful moment of the loss of his two sons. David HaMelech may have made that point even stronger. Throughout all his life's challenges, afflictions, David will not even accept them in silence. He will instead praise Hashem forever. Laman yizamercha kavod. To the end, my glory may sing praises to you. V'lo yidom, and I will not be silent. Hashem Elokai li'olam odeka. Hashem, my God, I will give thanks to you forever. David was telling us where our ayin should be. While your ayin are still here, why don't you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, but most importantly, hit the share button, which copies the link to this video, allowing you to simply paste it into emails, Facebook, texts, or WhatsApp groups. This way, many more ayins can see the oneg in everything in life. And while we're at it, fulfilling Rabbi Goodman's life's work, Torah Giants on Chumash. We go to yeshiva to learn, that's Torah. We seek closeness to Gedolim, that's Torah. We daven for inspiration and v'sein chalkeinu b'sorasecha, that's Torah. We come up with chidushim in our own learning. That's Torah. Maybe. Share your chidushim. Send your original Torah pieces to torahmaybe@gmail.com or email that address for more information. Also visit www.youtube.com/@torahmaybe.